Can you tell me what Karmosphere does?
Yes, we're a big data intelligence software company. What that means is that we're focused on providing a new kind of software for working with big data stored in Hadoop clusters. In particular, we're focused on providing software for developers and analysts and doing it in such a way that they get sort of familiar tools and familiar environments and can quickly be very productive analyzing, transforming data stored in Hadoop clusters.
So you talk about developer tools. Does that mean you're, an IDE?
Well, our first product, Karmosphere Studio, actually works in an IDE, so we deliver it as an application that installs in the context of Eclipse or NetBeans. So again, it's provided to developers in an environment they're already familiar with.
So, analyzing the data is just part of it. One of the big problems for people is getting at the data in the first place and loading it in. How do you address that?
Well, we address that. One of the things that we're seeing with Hadoop today is that there's sort of a number of phases that companies go through as they adopt Hadoop. Often they start with sort of a small prototype R&D cluster, and as they typically get sort of very exciting results from that, they'll deploy it into production. Once they've deployed it into production, they're looking to interconnect it with other data sources in the organization and establish sort of ingress and egress points to relational databases and data warehouses. So at that point, they start to need the ability for both developers and analysts to be able to sort of pull data in, do the transformations or analysis, sometimes in a series of steps in a workflow, then push the data out, for example, into a relational database that might power a web application, for example.
So you were talking about people being able to use data in ways they're familiar with. How do you do that exactly?
Well, we choose sort of familiar environments or languages that large enterprise organizations, or small enterprises for that matter, have already made major investments in. So we talked about IDEs for our Karmosphere Studio product. We're about to release our Karmosphere Analyst product, and what we've chosen to do there, at least in the first release, is present a very familiar SQL interface, so that I don't know if you know, there are 250,000 employers in the United States alone of SQL programmers.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is unlock their ability to work with big data through a familiar SQL interface.
So once they've done that and got the data out, do you handle visualization?
Well, there's sort of two parts really to the answer to that question. The first part is in terms of the sort of Hadoop cluster itself. One of the things that developers and analysts have been asking us for the past 12 or 18 months have been sort of more graphical visualization, more ability to see what's going on in the cluster to help them see the progress of their jobs. Or help them to sort of analyze and debug what's going on as they design, prototype, and develop these jobs. So we have sort of strong visualization tools at that level. On the front end, if you like, in terms of kind of what's presented to the user, we certainly have kind of rich graphical tools in our Karmosphere Studio and Analyst product, but we're also designing so that if people have already made investment in business intelligence products or sort of visualization software, then they can use that very easily in conjunction with Karmosphere products.
So it sounds like what you're about basically is trying to fit Hadoop and big data inside the enterprise in a way that fits in with what they're already doing.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. We don't expect people who are embracing Hadoop to have to sort of sweep away everything they've invested in terms of skill sets, hardware or software. It's all about an integration story, an integration with existing skill sets as well as the software and hardware.
Great, thanks very much.
You're welcome.